Hey folks, you know what time it is? It's time to talk about vehicles that you can use for camping. And we're going to go through the pretty much the full gamut of what's available. I got a lot of photos to show so that you know what I'm talking about. And we're going to talk about the details of the pros and cons of these. And we're going to start out with the smallest and cheapest generally and go from there. First, we're going to talk about minivans. They're generally the cheapest if you get an older one to modify for camping. And out in Quartzsite or anywhere on BLM land, national forests, you'll see many videos on YouTube where they're being interviewed for living in these minivans, women especially, because they can't afford much generally, or they're smaller people. They don't generally need a big area, and they're just trying to get by in life and not have to pay for rent or a lease. And they've got some very, very unique ideas in how to uh, get by in these and how to store things. The Chrysler products have fold away seats, which you can take out and use that space below the floor for storage. And you can black out the windows and lock your doors. Unfortunately, these are too small to use for handicappers that have to use a wheelchair or a walker. People who use a cane can get by. Um, and then there's so many different manufacturers of these, and they're readily available. Lots of sources for them. And so that's our lowest price choice, and it's also the least amount of room. So next, we're going to go to full-size vans. Here we have an older Ford van. It's a window van, and there's cargo vans, high tops, which I'll be showing you here in a second. But these are fairly roomy, and there's quite a few of these out there that have handicap lifts, whether they're in the rear or in the side. There's even a gal on YouTube that she's wheelchair bound, can't move her legs at all, and she has a swing out winch that she can lift herself up and swing back into the van, so the lift doesn't take any space up basically on the outside. And she lives in it. She's got a bed in there. She can evidently move herself around inside of there, and I believe she uses the same seat that's a driver's seat, but I can't remember, she might use her wheelchair and go up there and lock that in. And of course, that would have hand controls for her. Not a lot of space. If you're going to build that out for a camper, you're going to want to have a lot of cupboard space. If you want, you need solar, and that takes batteries and controllers on the inside. But it's an option, and not a huge option, but it's an option. Now I'm going to show you um, the high top. This is just one of many high top available. They come in Fords, Chevys, Dodge, and they give you some more room to be able to stand up inside. And this is a pretty fancy one here, but they've got a lot of plain Janes, and some of these come with handicap lifts already built into them, because when you've got a handicap lift van, you kind of want that extra height if it's made for shuttling people around, and you're going to convert it into a camper. If you're handicapped and you're wheelchair bound, you may not need a high top, but there's lots of them that have the handicap lift that goes in through the rear door, which is not very convenient um, for building out a camper, because usually your bed is in the rear. But you got to be able to get to the front to drive it or have a driver, and that means two people in a van like that makes it pretty tough, for space. Better off that you would have one of the side handicap lifts, and those do fold up inside. Other than what I was telling you about that gal who uses it's kind of like a boom that swings out, and then it's got a winch on it that lifts her up. And these are, like I say, there's a lot of these, and they're usually in pretty good shape yet, because handicap vans don't get as much use unless it's for hauling people around cities, stuff like that, as a shuttle bus type. Okay, so what's next would be actual shuttle bus, and they've got these available in front handicap access and rear handicap access. We'll talk about those in a second. This is a Ford shuttle bus, and it's got the rear handicap lift. The one I've got is got the front handicap lift. Now, the thing to talk about these things is this is a true handicap vehicle that is very convenient for camping, because it's got a lot more space in there, width-wise, lengthwise. There's a lot of these out there. Some of them have had pretty hard use, if they've been used by a municipality or in an airport, where they're shuttled from one end of the airport to the other, that runs all day long, every day. And I'd kind of avoid those. Good sources for these are probably the best one would be if you can find one that an elderly care home has, and they're selling it, because these are generally had easy use, and sometimes they're not as well cared for because of expenses. And so, if you don't have one from a municipality, they just may not be as well cared for with service. But if it's been used in a municipality, they usually have the records. Mine has got full records from the day it was built. And, that's nice, because I can look back and see what I expect is going to come up next as the needs for repair. Tires, batteries, headlights, brake work, transmission, all that stuff. But if it's been used in a municipality, generally it runs around every day, all day, and they're used in airports even more so. And so they can have a lot of hard use on them. Stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. A lot of wear and tear on the lift. Mine in particular is one that has been used as a dial-a-ride by a city. And it made a trip around to 3 different cities just twice a day. So it's low mileage. The handicap lift has been used very little. Elderly care facilities, they'll have probably used the handicap lift a lot more, but it's going to have probably less miles on it, just not as good a service. So I'm glad that mine is actually from a dial-a-ride, making very few trips per day, and not as much use of the handicap lift, and it's low mileage, so it's in really good shape. And I'm building it out right now. I'm building that. If you want to watch some of my videos on it, I've got 24 videos, and started right out from after I'd gotten the seats removed. The videos start with having it painted by a couple of high school kids that could get up on top of it. I'm too old and crippled up to have done that myself. I painted the sides, but I couldn't take out the seats neither. So that's where my build comes from. And You can watch my videos on youtube.com/@Tramp Traveler. And I'll give you that address again later, or you can stop the video right now and write it down. But it's youtube.com/@Tramp Traveler. Now, I'm not trying to sell you a shuttle bus or encourage you to buy a shuttle bus in any way, shape, or manner, because there's lots of other options. And next, we're going to look at schoolies, school buses. I fooled you. Next thing we're going to talk about, changed my mind, we're going to talk about the newer vans. And you can get these in 3 different heights, regular, medium, and a high top. And this one here shown is actually a high top. Looks like with ladder racks on top. It was probably used by a contractor. And some of these have had some pretty good use, especially if it's towed things around. There's quite a few of these available, but they're quite pricey. The reason I went with these instead of school buses because I'm working on size first, and then we'll get into the bigger ones. So this one here is it's a high top, but and you can find these fairly often with a handicap lift in it. Could be in the rear, could be in the side. And again, if you're handicapped in a wheelchair, you'd probably want the one with the side lift, although it makes it tougher for people who come along with you to maybe be your driver, that your side door usually is filled with the handicap lift. Doesn't mean you can't climb up in there with the lift in a down position and then pull the lift up after you've gotten your handicapped passenger and yourself back inside. The thing that's nice about these bigger vans is that you can, if you get a knock on the door, someone's trying to tell you that you can't camp there. If you're happen to stop in town and have to stop overnight in town, like at a Cracker Barrel or one of the lumber companies, or there's lots of different places that you can camp down in an industrial area, whatever. And you're sleeping inside your van, even though you've got the window covers up and everything like that, you might still get a knock by the police saying that it's illegal to camp there. And so you can, wisely get into your driver's seat without having to open your door up, because it may not be the police. It could be a thug of some kind that's just wanting to rip you off or endanger your life. So they're even more convenient, but they're pricey. And these are used probably more so now by contractors who may have abused them pretty bad, had them loaded down with toolboxes and equipment and storage. And so beware, having a mechanic check them out for you. If you're buying it from an individual, still might have been used by a contractor before that. And these things, especially the Ford Sprinter, has engine problems that are expensive to work on, and they've got to generally be worked on every couple of years in the pre-chamber, burn chamber, before your spark plug ignites. You fuel in a little area above the cylinder, and then the fire flows into the piston area. But meanwhile, it's clogging up that burn chamber with soot, and that has to be serviced really often. Look it up, read into it, and then your Mercedes, they're expensive. Just the hands down, they're expensive. They're available in 4-wheel drive with diesels or with gas, and they're nice, but they're expensive, and that's about all I can say on that. If you can afford it, might be worth it, but there's not very many service places around compared to a Ford or a Dodge Ram. And the Dodge Rams, they're front wheel drive, where the other two are rear wheel drive. The front wheel drive can be good in the snow, but I've heard that they don't climb hills very well and they don't work very well in sand. So if you're boondocking, you might have a little trouble with that. The other two, like I say, are rear wheel drive, and that's the norm that we're used to so much. The Dodge Ram also has, I think, the smallest engine of the three. So, you know, look those up, but beware, check them out for service. And now we'll get into the school buses, what they call schoolies after they've been converted. School buses. You got the front handicap lift, you got the rear handicap lift, you got rear engines, you got front engines, you got diesels, you got gas, you got low top, which adults would have trouble standing up in. Women no, but men yes. And then there's high tops that are tall enough that adults can stand up in them easy enough. And these things, they can be shorties, like 5 windows, up to, I think they go up to 66 or 72 passenger. So they're pretty long. They're going to be pretty much a fuel hog like the next ones here that we'll be talking about. But there's probably going to be a full set of service records available for these, unless it's not being sold by a school. People convert these quite a lot, and there's quite a following on schoolies. And so if you need a handicap lift, there's lots of these available, even down on the 5 window. The 5 windows quite a lot are used by hauling handicapped children into school, or just special needs children. And there's not a lot of those type of children, so they don't need a very big bus to make the trips around to pick them up. They could have had very hard use, a lot of stops, a lot of idling. The diesel engines, you want a low mileage, and some of these got some pretty big engines in them that I guess the ones that are considered the best are the ones with Caterpillar engines. But look up, all the different diesel engines, because some of them are good, some of them are not. And the same thing, most of these nowadays are automatic transmission. I would say the big majority. Used to be years ago when I was young, the school buses were had manual transmissions in them, and they worked really good. They were tough. The transmissions in these newer buses, though, the best ones that you can get are the Allison transmissions, or I think Caterpillar builds an did I say engine? Allison transmission, or I believe they make a Caterpillar transmission. But look into those things, read up on them, and they're not insulated. I don't care what state they're from, they're not insulated. Where the shuttle buses in the northern states, like mine's from Michigan, it's they built the outer shell, then they spray foam the inside of it, and then they put the inside shell in. So it's basically insulated top, bottom, sides, everything. Not a lot, but it saves on having to do that, especially if you're going to be down boondocking. But most of the time when these shuttle bus or these buses are modified into a schoolie, they'll strip out the interior and insulate them and then put the interior back on. But usually it's done with things like plywood sheeting or paneling of some kind, which helps. And they can, a lot of them close up a lot of the windows, paint the insides of them, or just put up these light barrier type curtains. And those work for both for blocking, they call them blackout curtains, for blocking out views and light leaking out if you're camping at night where you ought not be. You're generally not going to be able to be seen. And these blackout curtains give some amount of warmth also, or keeping out the sun. So some insulation properties. And the same with your shuttle buses. You can put in these blackout curtains. In mine, I bought some WEN, W-E-N, shipping blankets, which are real thick. And the difference between these and the ones that Harbor Freight sells is the Harbor Freight ones got a lot of fabric that falls apart. I don't know if it's paper or what, but the WEN ones are actually polyester, and they're washable, and they're really good. They're for covering up valuable pieces as you're moving from one city to another, taking all your possessions. But anyway, the schoolies, you have to remove or block out the flashers, because that's illegal to leave them in, and it's also supposed to be illegal to leave them painted orange. And so it's a couple extra steps that you've got to do to be able to put those on the road. Now, school buses and shuttle buses are considered commercial vehicles because they're hauling people. And it's tougher to get these things registered or retitled as RVs, but it's possible. Generally, if you watch videos on this, you'll hear that you've got to first convert the inside of it into motorhome before your state licensing bureau will change the title over to an RV. And in Michigan, you can't even get them insured, and if they're a commercial vehicle, unless you've got a business. I don't have a business, so I have to convert mine. And in converting it, you're supposed to have black water tanks. You're supposed to have a sink, a toilet, and a cook stove. And if you throw in a refrigerator and a shower stall, you got to have a shower stall too. So if you throw those things in, you've got to take pictures and show them to your Department of Motor Vehicles when you're trying to get it changed over. And also insurance companies can require those same pictures to prove that it is a motorhome now, before they'll change it into a motorhome. Commercial insurance, if you're somehow able to get it in some states, it's going to be very expensive compared to RV insurance. And if you got commercial insurance and you get an accident, it may not cover, probably won't cover you as an RV. Where if it's insured as an RV, well, then you're going a lot closer to be able to recover all of the expense you've got into it. So schoolies, they're a pretty good investment, especially for low mileage. Been well cared for, and you can get the records for them. Check the tires out. They use the bigger tires, 21-inch tires. Some will use a 19-inch tire. Your little shorty 5-window, maybe a 6-window, might have automotive type tires or truck tires, which are a lot cheaper to replace. Your 19 and 21-inch tires, they're expensive. Maybe a couple $100 per tire, maybe up to $1,000 per tire on some of them. So anyway, beware of that. And maybe you can try to find a schoolie that's already converted. But if they did a good job converting it, you're gonna pay the price, because they're gonna get for their labor too. Same with the shuttle bus. They're gonna get you for the labor they put into it, and you still don't know if you're gonna have some breakdowns later. And so if you're spending $30,000-$40,000 on a converted school bus or shuttle bus, and you take it out on the road, and within 300-400 miles you've got to replace the engine or transmission, man, you're in bad shape. So you're better off to build these out yourself and save yourself a lot of money and build it the way you want it. So the next is going to be motorhomes, and we're going to go with the shorter motorhomes first, and after that we'll go into the full size. So stay with me. This is a Class C motorhome, and there's also a Class B, which is the smaller. It's just basically a regular van that's been built out by a factory rather than a home built. And but the Class C is on a truck chassis, and they're quite nice inside. The showering bath situation is usually very small. They've got shorties, they've got long ones, and the longer you get, the better shower you're going to have. Bigger bathroom, more sleeping facilities possibly. And they're usually fitted out with everything: refrigerator, furnace, sink, shower, toilet, tanks, and usually kind of a minimal battery situation. Generally, they don't come with solar, so you'd have to put that in yourself, but the more of the newer ones are already fitted out for solar. But now you're starting to talk some very big expense. And I'm not even going to bother quoting you on lows and highs on this, because some of them are just, they're still expensive even if you get the smallest one, because they've done a lot of work to these. And, your truck chassis are pretty decent, but the builds on these things, they aren't made to last. They aren't made with tough materials. They're made to be light, so that you get reasonable mileage with them, although you still don't get that great of mileage. But sometimes they'll have a tow hitch on the back of them, so that you can put bikes on the back, or one of your storage racks, or even tow a smaller vehicle on it, or a trailer with some your toys, for cross country. They're nice motorhomes. Be very aware of used ones, because these things seem to have roof leaks almost every time. And they'll even have air conditioners, but you can't run them unless you're plugged in at a campground. So if you're gonna boondock or camp in the wild or city camp, forget about it. Using the air conditioner. Same with your heater. It draws a lot of power, and it's not gonna last very long on the batteries. These things are made more for campgrounds and parks, rather than for use out in the country, in the wilds, national forests, BLM, which is Bureau of Land Management property, which we own, and most places you can camp for free. But they're just not built tough. They're just got a lot of the time a wood frame. Their insulation is reasonable, but they're nice for occasional use. They're meant to be used on pavement rather than on trails, and because they're big, your trail popping, get all scratched up, and generally have all kinds of problems. Nowadays they come with backup cameras, which is nice. But they're big, a little bit tougher in traffic unless you're used to that kind of thing. But the biggest drawback on these things is how well built they are, or how poorly built they are, because they're trying to save weight. So it might have a wood frame. A lot of these have problems with delamination of the fiberglass, the outer coating. So you develop big bubbles, and they leak around the windows sometimes. After a couple of years, you may have to be sealing the roof all the time. Leaks will damage the roof. I got my puppy howling down here. He wants some attention. So anyway, these are the cheaper ones of the motorhomes. Now we're going to go into the big motorhomes, the Class A's. Oh, I forgot to add that I've never seen one of these with a handicap lift or handicap access. Your Class A's do have, there's a couple of them, a few of them actually. Some would say that Class A's are for the wealthy people. These are not really made for boondocking or going off-road. The one you see here has the handicap lift in it. There's two manufacturers that make Class A's with handicap lifts, and one is Newmar. I think they have either 2 or 3 models, and the cheapest one, which I believe that's the shortest one anyway, is around $250,000. And then the longer ones, bigger ones, they can get up to half a million dollars, maybe 400,000 at the very least. And the other one is I can't think of the name of the company right now. Darn it, Winnebago. And I think they only have 2 different models. I think Newmar has 3, and the pricing is roughly the same. They do have pretty nice shower space in them. It's usually got a toilet and sink on one side, and then a shower is across from that, and it's usually midway front to back with a rear bedroom, and then the shower and the toilets are in between, and it's a pass through from the rear to the front that's wide enough for a wheelchair. Motorhomes, Class A's, you can find used ones at a reasonable price. But again, they're not made for off-road, gravel roads, choppy roads, trails. You've got a significant investment, and with investment, you don't want to be tearing them up by getting them scratched full length. They get pricey because most all of them nowadays have slide outs, the same as the Class C's now have a lot of slide outs on them. And slide outs are nice if you're going to be camping in a decent campground and only using them maybe a couple of times a year, but slide outs have a lot of mechanical problems over the time of several years, and that can be very expensive to fix. You got terror problems, nightmares with having it slide out, and you can't get it back in, and there's nobody around to help you. There's nobody nearby to get it back in, and you can't take it down the road with the slide outs hanging out. And when you're in a lot of areas, I've seen them be clipped by other vehicles as they're driving by. They just aren't paying attention like they should. Another problem with slide outs is leaks and wind and dirt and stuff, leaves getting up inside of them. And so it can be a bad situation for the price that you're paying for it. But if you want really nice accommodations, calling glamping, well, maybe a motorhome is the right choice for you. Now, I've still got trailers, camping trailers, and cargo trailers to go through, so stick with me here. We still got some area to cover, and we want you to know all the different options that you've got for camping. Oh, I forgot one other category of motor vehicles for camping. We can't forget about the truck campers. And you see there's a pretty snazzy one. It's got a nice truck too. And this one's got a slide out. That's not really common, but you got all different sizes of truck campers, from start out with maybe just a truck cap, which is pretty limited in space, to older ones that you can pick up for almost nothing, because people aren't really necessarily enthralled with a truck camper. You got quite a few steps to climb up, and then they're really crowded on the inside Usually they're fairly complete with a bathroom and maybe even a shower, or you call them wet showers generally, meaning that the water gets all over the toilet while you're sitting on it or using a shower. Uh, and storage is a big problem. And sleeping accommodations, they can vary. You mostly always have the over the cab bed, which you got to climb on the counters in order to get up into it. And usually the dining will convert down into a bed for the kids, but it's something you're constantly messing with to get up in the morning, put it away, and but they are functional. And the nice thing about them is you can take them off and use your pickup the rest of the year. This one here is pretty much a high top, so it'd be a little tough to maneuver in the woods with them, but most of these, if you've got a four-wheel drive truck, you can go off-road with it. And those trucks are tough, They can get around in rocky places generally, and and they have propane, they have furnaces, they've got everything you need, and they can get pretty pricey too. Like this one here is probably top of the line. You've got them that are extended, but you got to have a pretty heavy-duty suspension in order to haul one of these things around, and it's going to hurt your fuel mileage. But if you've got a heavy duty suspension, you probably know all about fuel mileage. But it's a real good option if you're young and you want to be able to get around places that others can't, like a motorhome can't. But there's no such thing as a handicap topper or a truck camper, so that's very limited. And I'm trying to cover the vehicles too that have handicap accessible, because that's what I need. And so I was going to start the video out with just handicap vehicles that are available. And I got to thinking, I'm not doing everybody justice with that, because there's not that many people that need a handicap vehicle who watch videos on camping. But my purpose behind covering the handicap vehicles is because, handicappers need an option to where they can still get out in country and have some fun, be able to enjoy nature. So then we have the truck campers. Now I'll get into trailers. I'm going to start with cargo trailer because that's the very basic, and you can build that out yourself. Cargo trailers. Here I'm showing a picture of a reasonable size. It's got dual axles, windows on both sides, looks like, and it's got the dining and the bed in the rear. These can be very versatile. A lot of them nowadays are pointed in the front. What do you call it? Can't think of it. You know what I mean. Pointed. And typically they've got a door on the side, and they can have either double doors, they call barn doors, in the rear, or a ramp that drops down. And I've got one. It's just a small one. It's a 5x10, and it's got the barn doors in the rear because I wanted to be able to use that to be able to take outdoor showers. You open the doors up and hang a curtain across it or a tarp across it, and you can take your shower. Otherwise you got to get a little shower tent, which they're a pain to put up. But with your V front there, you can put in a microwave, a toaster oven, a toaster, TV, put in some shelves, and mine in particular has a Murphy bed that folds down on the side, or folds up on the side, you might say, so that it gives nice open space. In the rear, I've got a countertop with a 2-burner stove, and got a 4-inch rim around it so that when you're going down the road, stuff isn't falling off it. Down below that, I've got a college dorm refrigerator with a upper freezer. I mean, it's got its own door on it. And then my Murphy bed, when it's in the folded up position, I've got some of these cupboards that are usually used above refrigerators, so they're not very deep. And I've got a diesel heater in mine. You can put diesel heaters in any of these that you're building. A diesel heater started out as a gas heater by Volkswagen because the little Beetles back in the day, way back in the day, had miserable heat, and they still do. So they built a gas heater, which is very nice. But later they started building the diesel ones for truckers who are staying in their truck overnight. And they're super efficient. They only use a little bit of electricity. They got a big fan in them, and it's got a exhaust pipe that goes to the outside, so you're not breathing in any of the gases that are being burned up. And they circulate air just really really dandy. But back to these campers, the cargo trailers. You rip the inside out, put all insulation, top, bottom, sides in it, and then you put either the same plywood back in it, or you put whatever you want in it. You can cut into them and build a framework for a window, and then put in windows on both sides. I've got what they call a jalousie window on one side that has a crank, so that there's 3 louvers that open up, and it's got a screen, and the other one has got a, your classic window that you open from the bottom, just slide it up, and that's got a screen. A lot of people use these for hunting with these windows, and mine's got a hickory floor, a real hickory floor. So you can doll them up all you want to, and it's cheap because you can do it a bit at a time with whatever materials you want to use. The problem that I have with the fold down ramp is people use them for a deck. They'll put a couple of jack stands underneath them, or just let them hang with the cables, and that's their outdoors, or their dining area, whatever. But when you're out in the country, the whole thousands of acres is your backyard. You always got to fight around those cables and step down. It's a big step down. It's probably at least a foot tall. These are tough enough, some of them, that you can take them out rocky trails and stuff if they got high enough clearance. Some people flip the axles upside down and hang on. Sorry, I had to pause that. Got a puppy. He's thinks that he's the most important thing inside this house, and he wants to get out of the chair, then he wants to get back in the chair just constantly, or go to the bathroom all the time. Anyway, where were we at there? But the barn door just gives you better access to the rear for getting in and out if you want to use it that way. Some people build a kitchen in the back of them. Excuse me. Talking too much, getting a dry throat. Anyway, yeah, they're very versatile. You can drop them when you get where you want to go and use your vehicle to drive around, go get groceries. Got a tire that's got to be fixed, you can take it off and put it in your vehicle and go into town and fix it. I built mine with solar, and it's got enough solar on it that I can run my refrigerator while I go into town to get groceries or whatever. And I've also got solar on my van, which I tow it with, so that, and that's a bigger solar system, and got a generator in the back of that, so that if I choose to, if there's not enough sunlight days on end, I can run my generator to charge batteries back up. And I went all out. I put batteries in the trailer and in the van, so that I've got lots of different choices. Now, my problem is I don't have it set up to where I can use a wheelchair in it. And there's really no option for wheelchair lifts that I'm aware of. I guess you could fudge something up. But anyway, it's another option that you can use that's economical. It can be as cheap as you want. You can take stuff out. You can modularize everything so that it pulls out. And you can still use it for your employment if you need to, or for make it into a toy hauler and be able to haul it around. And my puppy is anxious here. He can't decide if he wants to get out of the chair, but as soon as he gets out of the chair, then he wants to get back in, and he's constantly whining. So anyway, it is what it is with a puppy. Love them to death. Everybody should have a pet to take camping with them. And so now we'll get on to things like teardrop trailers and stuff like that. Okay, just regular old campers here, the tow behinds. This is a teardrop, and there's different sizes of them, and then you've got ones like this that you can get them as long as you want them, with 2 doors on them, bedrooms, bunk beds, air conditioning, and these are generally meant for in campgrounds and parks, not for off-road. Although this one here looks like it's set up pretty tall, so you might be able to take that off-road somewhat, but I wouldn't, because these things again are built to be light and they fall apart real easy. They've got them that's got a ramp in the back that you can drop down and run your off-road vehicles up into. Take them camping with you, and it's still got living quarters in the front of them. They're pretty versatile. They can be very expensive, or they can be very cheap. A lot of people build their own teardrops. My son lost his legs in a car accident, and he actually can use his teardrop because he just sits down in a doorway, takes his fake legs off, and turns around and rolls into bed, and it wouldn't matter how long the thing is for him, but he takes his wife with him and a dog, little dog. But yeah, the campers are okay if you're just doing the campground and park life. They've got them that are like tiny homes that you can put into a full-time campground, or one that's seasonal, and be able to just leave it there year-round. Most of these trailers, you could leave them in a campground year-round and pay them just to store them. Like I'm up here in Michigan, and so you can only use these things for, I don't know, 6-8 months of the year, and then you just store them for the rest of the time. And rather than hauling it into town or wherever to a storage area or taking it home, you can just leave it there. You can leave it hooked up to water and sewer and electric year-round. But I'm not going to say too much more about these travel trailers. I don't know if there's any that are handicap accessible. My son, after he lost his legs, bought what's called a snowmobile cargo trailer, which has a front and rear ramp, and he's got legs now, fake legs, but he back when he was confined to a wheelchair, he would just back up the ramp and go down the ramp frontwards, back down to get out. And he really dialed that up with epoxy floors and all that stuff, and heat, electric. He uses a diesel heater in it that he can bring inside when it's not needed. It's an outdoor one. And so there's just so many different ideas out there for camping, whether you're handicapped or not. So I encourage everybody to consider getting back out there and enjoying life, enjoying nature. Go fishing, go hunting, fix yourself up a hunting cabin on one of these things. Buy some land and put it on there for year-round living if your township and county allows it. A lot of states will allow that. Further north you go in Michigan, the more lenient they are with that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is a lot longer video than what I ever intended. But there's so much detail that needed to be talked about. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like you to watch my other videos where I'm building my shuttle bus out. at youtube.com/@ symbol. So youtube.com/@ Tramp Traveler, TRAMP Tramp Traveler. You got to have the amp and sign in front of it, or otherwise it'll give you some guy from India that you can't even understand. He's got a couple of videos out with just Tramp Traveler. So I said and, but it's an at symbol, the circular A. Anyway, please watch some of my videos, like them, ring the bell, subscribe, make some comments, and same for this one. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment. I appreciate it, and I will get back to you with answers if you got any. Have a good life. Enjoy.